I couldn't think of a better way to start this rivalry. Houston Outlaws with a big opportunity here in the Texas Showdown.
Gobat stealing all the glory.
Linkser finds the kill onto Coco. I move for the kill. Pretty convincing win from Houston Outlaws. Dallas Fuel will barely come out on top.
Welcome, we are live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles, California. We are here for day 6 of the Overwatch League regular season, and we got a packed house. So many awesome fans in the building today because we are guaranteed to see some phenomenal action here. Welcome back to the desk, everybody. I am your host, Chris Puckett, and today we have a very special treat for everybody at home, a stacked analyst desk. Give it up, we got Crumbs and our insider, Zoe, and for the very first time this year, we brought in the 6'7" reinforcement. Johnny's on the desk.
Come on, I'm not a wrestler, I'm an analyst, okay?
I love it. From Reinhardt to analyst, Reinforcements going to be breaking down all of the action for us as the matches go down. And as I mentioned at the start of this show, we have such an incredible schedule. You watched yesterday? Well, today you're in for a real treat. We kick things off with the battle for Texas. Dallas Fuel going up against the Houston Outlaws. Yeah, you guys could cheer. Let's make some noise. 4 p.m., 2 undefeated teams as we see the New York Excelsior face off against the Los Angeles Valiant. And we're closing out the day with our hometown squad, the LA Gladiators, facing off against the 2-1 Philadelphia Fusion. So many great games to get to, and it's time to kick this party off right now. Please put your hands together and make some noise for our first team. It's the Dallas Fuel. Dallas was the biggest surprise of week 1. Everyone had such high expectations for this squad, but at the end of the week, they finished off 0-2.
Yes, and I think we expected a lot going up against Soul Dynasty, very powerful, but then Los Angeles Valiant, I think, surprised everyone and went away with a 3-1 victory.
And you know what? It doesn't really matter if they win or lose. They are a fan favorite, and that's simply because they're so entertaining to watch. That's not just because the players really show up on stage and have a personality, but also because they have a coach such as Kaito, who's just a really innovative mind and a creative kind of coach. So they're a joy to watch, really.
And while their entertainment value remains constant, the one player right there on your screen, Effect, this guy is an absolute rock for this team. He is always showing up, and when it comes to Tracer and Widowmaker, he is your GOAT.
Effect looked like he was getting in the zone there, head down, so focused. They're going to need some big games out of him today. And as we take a look at the rest of this lineup, Johnny, you are so familiar with this former Envy squad, now the Dallas Fuel. Who are some of the stars you're looking out for?
Well, I'm looking out for Kusta, actually, a new addition to this team. We've seen some spectacular Moira play, probably some of the best in the league. Once again in the starting lineup on Junkertown, so I expect some Moira coming out on Kusta.
Dallas Fuel coming in at 0-2, but there are definitely some fan favorites here in the building, but they need to be on their A game because they're going up against a Houston Outlaws squad that is coming off a hot 4-0 victory of the Shanghai Dragons. Yesterday, we were able to go into the dugout with them at halftime and learn a little bit more about this very confident Houston lineup.
It's easy. Easy clap. I've only died one time.
I had 2 deaths and they were both res.
I've only died once.
I think I got res 2 times on the Valkyrie. These are my only deaths. I was like, alright. We didn't show any strats in the first 2 maps. We showed nothing. We actually were like, oh, we don't have to show anything.
We actually capped the whole map with Bastion. We defended first point. We actually haven't
They saw nothing that matters.
And they showed nothing on Horizon too.
Ability to bounce back from their 0-2 start. They got a big win over Shanghai yesterday, but use the hashtag #UpTheAnte with your thoughts on the Outlaws. And if you're lucky, your tweets may be shown in our new show called The Social Studies. It's coming out this Monday, so get pumped for that. But really, put your hands together now as we welcome the Outlaws to the main stage. Give it up for the Houston Outlaws. The Blondes of Bonnie and Lynx are leading the charge. Muma right behind them, and this squad had a dominant victory over Shanghai last night.
They really did. They had a slow start in the first week, and I did get to talk to the guys about that performance. They said they just felt like they prepared incorrectly and they practiced inefficiently. However, going into this week, they changed this up. They focused more on VOD reviews. They kept their regular scrim schedule. That's the same maps they played today as they had yesterday against the Shanghai. So obviously, some of their preparations did overlap there, which will work in their favor.
And you heard Jake in that piece saying we didn't even show any of our strats yet.
Yeah, and we can downplay their victory over the Shanghai Dragons. It's a very weakened team right now, but the fact is that this team needed to get the ball rolling when it came to confidence. They felt like they didn't have to reveal anything, as you were saying, and that could pay off in this matchup against Dallas Fuel that is trying to prepare against an Outlaws that now, what do you even know about them if apparently what you saw yesterday did not matter?
And going into week 2, they're starting to really figure themselves out. I want to highlight Linkster here. Previously, we've seen Clockwork on the Tracer for the Houston Outlaws, but yesterday we saw Linkster hitting up the Tracer. So Linkster, one of the more key players in this team into week 2.
Jake having some fun with the camera. Rock is getting a lot of love from this crowd as well. They embrace the fan support, and they're going to need it again today. Keep your eyes on that tank duo in the middle. They were on fire yesterday against Shanghai. One of the big reasons you saw so few eliminations coming in for this squad. Let's talk a little bit about the big picture here as we break down our squads. And Zoe, I want to start with you looking at Houston. They started the week 0-2. Huge improvements were shown, though, against the Shanghai Dragons.
Absolutely, and I think one of the players who really showed the most improvement was Muma. He went off, he got the Players of the Match honors yesterday, got a shout out from his support player, Boink, after the third map. They credited him for their first ever victory on a control map during the Overwatch League, and that was pretty big, and he really went off. Like, it was an absolute joy to watch this player, and he just continues to improve like that.
Yes, and I'd like to see more of the Reinhardt here going up against the Dallas Fuel. We've seen Dallas Fuel play a lot of triple and quad tank lineups, so maybe Muma can showcase some Reinhardt as well in this matchup, charge up a lot of Earth Shatters and get value.
All right, well, Crumbs, let's talk about the other side. After the loss to Seoul, it seemed like there was a heavy effect just felt across this Dallas Fuel lineup. The whole squad seemed to be in a slump. They went in against the Valiant, and a lot of people were surprised by the way that match played out with the Valiant walking away as the victors.
Well, I do think for that matchup that Dallas set the expectations a little bit too high for what they were going to get out of them versus Seoul, and afterwards, even on game 4, they were already starting to tilt, and it felt like their answer to fixing their issues was, okay, we're just going to try a bunch of new strategies, cycle in a bunch of new players, but it just did not zero in on anything, and as a result, you have way too much spread and not enough data to know what the issue really is.
So many different lineups have been seen from this Dallas Fuel team, and we've seen them on Junkertown a number of times. This is the first time we're seeing the combination of Mickey, Seagull, Effect, Coco, Chipsian, and Custa in the starting lineup. Johnny, a new look. What should you be reading after seeing just the faces that'll be playing on this map?
Well, I think we'll be seeing Bastion. It's Junkertown. I mean, Pirate Chip is a really common composition. We're not seeing Taimo in the starting lineup, so that brings a question mark. Will we see some Widowmaker? We know that Effect is insane on the Tracer and the Widowmaker as well. But I'm expecting Bastion on the Seagull, of course. But what will they bring out with it? We don't really know.
All right, looking forward to this first matchup. It's going to be a big one. Are you guys ready for the Battle of Texas? There's a look at your 2 starting lineups. And now to introduce you to our 2 casters, let's send it backstage. We got Semler and Hex.
Perfect. Thank you, Puckett. And thank you to the desk for providing us with already so many talking points here. Just the roster, you know, to start things off. You and I were having this discussion, Hex, and we're still not sure exactly what the Fuel are going to bring to the table.
Yeah, it looks a little bit odd, so we're wondering what's actually going to happen. Is it going to be a Bastion strat? Are they going to run the Hanzo here? Of course, that is one of Seagull's pocket picks, but we are starting off on Junkertown, and, you know, anything can happen at Junkertown.
Yeah, buddy. I've really enjoyed watching this map. You know, I mean, there's some frustration sometimes because the Pirate Ship was this dominant strat, and it took a long time to figure out actually how to deal with it, and so you're just like, oh, Pirate Ship, they're just going to roll to the 3rd point. But now teams are starting to adapt, and we have one of the most versatile rosters here in the Fuel. These guys are so creative. They're always coming up with new strategies, new ways to catch their opponents off guard. So that's why I think, you know, it's a big talking point. We're all wondering, you know, what are they going to show us here to start things off?
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. One of the reasons I love Junkertown as we fly through the map is I think good maps always force a team to switch compositions. You can't run your same 6 at first point as you can at last point. You have to switch things up, and it really tests the versatility of these teams.
Well, as we get the fly through here, you guys are going to get a bit of an overview if you're new to just tuning in. You know, this is one of the more recent maps that's been added to the pool. And so we are still trying to figure it out exactly how this map needs to be played. Lots of great YouTube content as well out there. Everybody's getting on board with Junkertown, trying to figure this map out. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's a fantastic thing. You need to have maps that are versatile like this that really provide so many options for teams.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Of course, Jake has been playing a lot of Junkrat. It's been called the Jake Rat, which can be a very good answer to a Bastion. Even if you can't crack it right away, the tire coming over top, if you can sneak one in, can definitely dislodge a Bastion or a pirate ship. Fuel still in the offense, seeing what they're going to run on the way out here. Custa being in the lineup makes me think that they might run a Moira, but it's really hard to not run a Mercy in this kind of meta right now.
Exactly, that's where you get kind of wondering. And the first point, Junk as well. I mean, once you get out into that open area, it feels like Moira might drop off a little bit. She likes the choke points, she likes halls, rooms, you know, where she can chuck her orb in there and really do a lot of AoE damage. So we'll see if he decides to stick with that pick or not, or if they're going to change things up. Effect on Widow, though, does that shock you at all?
I mean, Taimu is generally their Widow, but Effect is a hit scan god, so it's not all that shocking. I do want to give a shout out to Raucus, though, because he's one of the few supports that can play these other heroes at such a high level. He's played Widow for this team. He's going to be on the Roadhog now.
All right, time to kick things off, and the crowd is already hype, and that's why, Chips, this is exactly what you do with the Bastion. Your whole goal here is to just burn through these shields, give the defense nowhere to hide. You want to open it up for your players like Seagull, like Effect, to start finding those picks to start things off, and sure enough, already Mickey getting a kill, well, at least dropping the Diva out of her mech, but Effect follows it up.
Yeah, both will be brought right back up. Custa actually reses up Mickey instead, but Chips had fallen right before that. Generally, you want to res your Bastion in these situations. Now they're just trying to take some area control because you need to get back on the cart if you're going to run this pirate strategy.
This is actually a really solid defense being shown here by Houston, and I'm kind of curious, you know, is this what Jake was talking about yesterday when they're like, we didn't even have to show any strats, right? Is this the switch that is perhaps catching Dallas off guard? They're just getting hooked all over the place. Mickey going to town right now, trying to find that shot point blank, and he loses that battle, takes a lot more damage.
One good pull deserves another. Jake went down, but instantly resurrected, and now reses back and forth again. No deaths have really been permanent so far, but the setup of this defense is perfect. You do not want to let them set up on the pirate ship. At a certain point in time, if they keep holding this defense in this situation, they might even abandon the strategy.
Yeah, they will have to change things up eventually. We're ticking past the 2-minute 40 mark, and they haven't made hardly any progress at all. In fact, it's actually the Booba territory now. He's got the shield on the point. He's like, this is my payload now. You're not getting anywhere near it.
There's nothing more uneventful than a Orisa versus Orisa. You're just gonna barely even crack shields, but Linkser pops off right there. He has just been the stalwart on this defense. That is 3 quick kills. We'll see if Dallas is going to stick with this. Chips is nearing tank mode.
Exactly, he's nearing his ult, and that makes me think that he wants to just hang on to this, try and get some picks with the tank mode. Effect, they both connect, but neither one gets the frag there.
Well, Effect is in trouble because Linkser has his ultimate up, so he can see through walls. That makes the Widow battle much in his favor.
And already shots getting landed, and here we go, the trade. Supercharger gets picked off immediately, though. That's not going to help, and Coco is down. They've lost the tank, Dallas Fuel. Already a man down, in Effect. He's under so much pressure right now. Linkser just can't seem to miss.
But Seagull alleviates that pressure by taking out Linkser on the other side of things. Linkser gets resurrected, though. Effect will take down Fanny for trying to even resurrect his fallen teammate.
This is the big shifting point here. Chip Sayan has brought out the tank mode. And that pick, I mean, it's really, you just drop the Mercy, you stop so much healing, but more importantly, you stop that res. And so finally, Dallas Fuel will be able to make some progress here on this point. Links are already, however, out in the open. He's going to get picked here in a second. And in fact, sure enough, we'll find him in the end.
They will finally crack through, but that is a pretty good first point defense for Junkertown. A lot of times just being able to stall out and win a couple fights, that's one of the better defenses you'll see just on first point. The problem is now they are established on the pirate ships, called such because it's got big guns on it and there's a lot of gold on it. And now it's how do you break this position?
Oh, great play here from Seagull, though. Is he actually going to find any targets? Doesn't matter. He still blocks off the choke point, and sure enough, there's the scatter arrow. Point blank on Muma, takes him out of the fight immediately. And so it's just trades frags back and forth, but Houston seem like they're coming out ahead here. Jake with the kill on Mickey, that's a big one, and it's gonna force the res, but there's so much damage coming in from Jake.
An enormous tire over the top. Post Valkyrie takes down Kaza and Seagull, and they will stabilize again. Jake cracks open the case, and then Linkser cleans it up.
This is unbelievable. Houston turning it around. When you're going into this kind of fight with the storied history of Dallas, you're kind of putting them as the top dog here in this matchup. You're expecting Houston to have to get scrappy. Well, sure enough, Houston, they've definitely shown up. Linkser in particular, he has dominated this Widow fight. He has done so much work for his team.
There are undecided fans in Texas, and this is the battle for the Owl Corral right here, and we'll see who flies their flag over Texas tonight. But this is a huge showing for Houston to be able to first hold on Junkertown, which they're 5 seconds away from doing.
Well, already they do manage to get the res, so that's something here for Dallas to work with. The DMEC as well, but they aren't able to get on the point. While I'm jabbering about mercy plays, you gotta remember, guys, it's not about the kills. You need to get somebody on that payload. And Dallas, they don't even make the first point on Junkertown.
An astonishing defense from the Houston Outlaws. Really well played there, just working so well together. Jake played a kind of a passive Junkrat. He wasn't dying too much, didn't get himself into sight lines. Effect was having a hard time finding targets. Meanwhile, Linkser was able to pick them apart on his Widow himself. And the reses went back and forth, but there was times when their Bastion died and they just used a res, and that's a full reset. You have to go back to protect him so he can get on the cart, and you have to reestablish your pirate ship.
That's the tricky thing, managing to actually keep your Bastion on there when there's just bullets and everything flying all over the place. Of course, you're going to have Muma trying to halt him off of it as well. It's just all of these layers to this defense, and Houston did a fantastic job. And you can see a lot of good energy here, you know, a lot of talking. That's exactly what you want to see. That's a positive thing. Whereas Dallas, they seem a little bit, you know, a little bit quiet right now.
Yeah, I mentioned one of my favorite things about this map is how the composition switches, but that's before I really realized this faint didgeridoo in the background. That might be my favorite.
Never heard that before?
No, I'm just picking. I don't wear like good headphones at home, so this is a new experience for me.
Dude, Blizzard are on point. I love all the soundtracks or all the different maps. It's so sick, the detail that they get into.
I mean, it's no Route 66.
And it's like an upbeat didgeridoo too. You know, they want the energy to be high in this room. You know, they don't want you going to sleep or relaxing or zoning out there in the savannah, in the outback. They want you focused on the action that's about to go down. And so now, well, tables have turned. It's going to be Dallas on the defense here with Houston perhaps showing us a little bit of what they have in store. And it's looking like Houston at least will be running the similar strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it is just the strategy that you run on this map until someone proves they can stop it. It's been shown to be effective. It's been shown to be dominant. You get the double snipers on the side, picking out anyone who peeks around the shields. And if they're not peeking around the shield, you're going to try to crack right through it. They're holding a little further back than some teams will, but this is essentially as standard has gone on Junkertown.
Oh, Mickey, this is big. Chip saying somehow DMEX, cool mat and all that melee, that chaos. But Mickey was at risk of getting picked off to start things off, and that wouldn't have helped the defense one bit. They do manage to kind of wipe the sweat off their brow, though, Dallas. They get a second chance, a chance to breathe. But now it's going to be the high ground taken over here by Houston, and they're just looking to pour it in. There's Jake with the mine. Doesn't quite follow up with the kill, though.
So much healing on the ground. It's one of the wrinkles in the strategy that you first saw on that defense is that the defending team will rotate around and see if they can catch them off guard. But it has been the Linkser show. Seagull out of the mix. Matt will take down Coco. Now, who do they res up? Lucky for them, Effect has taken down Rockets, but I don't think it's enough, Semler.
There, that's big. Finally, Effect is able to win that duel versus Linkser, but not before Linkser does the damage, manages to get the picks to start everything off strong here for Houston. Jake getting just a little bit ahead of himself, not going to overextend though. I like that. You need the discipline, but they are getting so close now to the first point, to the cap. That's all they have to do. They have to just push the payload into that silver square, that silver rectangle.
We've got one Junkrat on the side creeping just to try to get out here and touch if he can. The tire will come in, and Chip's now out of this fight.
Oh, that's so big. Linkser drops Costa, no resurrect here, and this is going to be the easiest first map for Houston Outlaws. What a fantastic performance. That is them taking basically this league by storm. At this point, if you stomp Dallas Fuel into the ground, hey, Dallas Fuel, let's be fair here. They're 0-2 in the league. Yes, they've played some of the best teams in the league right now, at least, but still, this is not how you expect it to go for the Dallas.
No, first shot fired in the battle for the Lone Star State, and it is from the Outlaws, fittingly enough, as they've got both of the 6 shooters in their logo. I'm a little bit stunned right now.
I'm impressed. You know, there's been a lot of talk around Houston. There's been a lot of talk around Jake. You know, a lot of positivity. And well, I mean, we're going to get some of the replays here, and really, you can't be disappointed with Linkser's performance. The man just seems to stand out on every front, pick after pick.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel. We got the Dallas Fuel taking on the Houston Outlaws. It's a battle of the Western squads.
Best shots at having a Western team that would be able to win the event.
Our team, Dallas Fuel, was announced first, so when I got the news that another team was going to try to claim Texas, I knew we had to stomp them and claim our mark.
Yeah, they may have been announced first, but we are still better than them.
We are here for this Texas matchup. Yeehaw, Monte Cristo!
Well, our preseason match against the Fuel was very close.
That was the best 0-2 of the entire preseason. They actually put up a fight against the Dallas Fuel.
So during preseason, against the Outlaws, we went 3-2. I don't even know how we let them get away with 2 wins in the first place.
Is Houston Outlaws on the same level as Dallas Fuel right now?
I think the favorite is us. We have the best players, we have the best fans, and we represent the best city.
This is going to be an insanely fun matchup to watch.
The toughest thing about the Outlaws are going to be their tank duo, Luma and Cool Matt. I think if we can take care of that, then the rest should follow.
A scatter arrow can instantly kill a tank.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Oh, thank you, Seagull.
Me and Muma have history.
There's a bit of a rivalry back from even past games and stuff.
Can't wait to push him off the map. Can't wait to show him who's boss.
Are these our 2 best Western teams?
We're the best team in Texas because we have the experience. Outlaws, step it up, get ready, because we're coming.
No, definitely not. Texas ain't big enough for the 2 of us, you know? There's a new sheriff in town. It's the Outlaws.
And here we have it. I mean, the battle for Texas, there's no better way of putting it. It's a battle for the West as well. I mean, Dallas Fuel has been the team to watch from the West for so long now. And all of a sudden, you've got these Houston upstarts. They're just showing up and pumping bullets into them.
Yeah, I mean, they're upstarts, but this team has played together a lot under different formats and different names. We'll see. And yeah, they have different players, but I gotta say, as far as the hair battle goes, Outlaws are winning it. Between Raucus and Cool Matt, that's a lot of product going on, so they've at least got that one going. But I gotta say, there's probably undecided people in the audience figure out which Texas team they're gonna root for. They've already decided which LA team they're gonna root for. We're going to Horizon next. I'm hoping that we see a lot of tanks here because it's something that Dallas has brought out.
It's got to happen. We don't have any subs either, and I wanted to touch on that because, you know, XQC, he was a little spicy there in that video, right? You know, I don't know how we even gave them 2 maps. How does he feel now? You're down 0-1, XQC. Where are you?
It's so strange because XQC is usually really quiet, kind of coy. I don't know if you've seen his stream. He's a really humble guy.
It's like a library in there, you know? I know it's
exactly.
The peace.
No talking. Someone comes in and shushes him.
And then he puts his hoodie on, tightens it up, and you know that it's game time for XQC. Yeah, he's got one of the best streams. If you guys haven't checked it out, be sure to head over to Twitch and check it out there. But, I mean, we're going to have now the Assault map that's going to be coming up. And so, man, pressure's really going to be on here for Dallas because there's no way that they can allow themselves to go down 0-3 at the beginning of this league. Not with their pedigree, and certainly not against Dallas. Not against, obviously, Houston.
Yeah, expectations were a little bit higher, although, you know, I'm of the mind, if they go down 0-3, it's going to be the best 0-3 in the league. I mean, just granted who they've played against, but obviously if you're Dallas, you did not expect for that to happen. They kind of usually are a team that starts slow, so losing the first map isn't going to tilt them. They're used to playing from behind like that. They're usually pretty surprised when they win the first map, so it's just about how can they bounce back. Do not let the emotions or the pressure of the situation get the better of them. And they did mention they're the more experienced team. These guys have been on stage more than the Houston Outlaws, and they're going to have to rely on that as we go into Horizon Lunar Colony.
Certainly, they have a long experience of competing against the best over in Korea as well. And so, I mean, with that kind of pressure on you, you have to know how to perform. And already we're going to be keeping an eye on things here because Dallas Fuel will be the ones starting things off here on the attacking side. Very curious to see what they have in store for us, seeing as how they are always changing it up. They are always challenging the meta. But for now, at least, it doesn't seem like it's too unreasonable here, Hex. It actually seems kind of vanilla.
It looks pretty standard. The player I want to watch going forward here is going to be Custa, the Fuel's Mercy. There were a lot of times he got himself in bad positions in that last map, going for resurrections. Sometimes you have to leave your man on the ground.
All right, well, Coco just launching himself in there. He's going to get followed up here by Mickey as well. Mickey just checking the high ground, making sure that there's nobody, unwelcome surprises up there. Does not want to get his head picked off. Sure enough, we're going to have Jake on the Junkrat. I mean, he did a fantastic job on the first map, so I'm curious to see how much damage he'll be able to do. And, well, never mind. Effect is already dead. Thank you, Jake. Perfect.
Very aggressive play by Jake. He comes over the top because he knows he's got the heals in his pockets, and he's just able to punish Effect. Aggressive again, but he lays the trap, and they will D-Mech Mickey. That's as good as a kill sometimes. Now if they can finish off the baby diva, as we call her.
Exactly. Just draw it out. You can see Cool Matt kind of toying with her as well. Mickey needs to get back into that mech as fast as possible here. He needs to get that pressure going. Seagull looking for an angle, and Jake already has a Riptire. This is not allowed. You cannot allow this to delay you further if you are Dallas. And sure enough, Seagull will find it and shut it down.
Seagull's had a good game so far. He took out his counterpart in Linkser, who has actually switched off of the Genji and is on to Tracer now instead. But they haven't really gotten aggressive yet. That might open it up as Linkser dies to chips as he was challenging that Zed.
That's one of the most satisfying kills you can get in the game. When you're playing Zenyatta and you drop a Tracer, that's just a feel-good moment. And so is Seagull taking down Jake. Banny is there to get the res on Linkser, though, and that is the Valkyrie used very early on here for Houston. So we'll see if he'll be able to stay alive, if the healing throughput is going to make the difference. And so far, it's definitely looking pretty solid here for Houston.
Custa does pop his Valkyrie a little bit later, but they overlap their ultimates. The Transcendence was going on at the exact same time. A later Transcend from Houston might be able to bring them back, but overall, having a later Valkyrie just means you're definitely going to have an advantage in that fight. Can they capitalize on it?
Yeah, you have to wait till the commit comes in, and already trading frags left and right. FX falls back, and he gets caught by Cool Matt. No space there. Mickey going for the big... Oh, no, he sinks it right into the corner. What a self-destruct.
Yeah, they were able to take down the opposing Mercy there. Mickey now pressuring everybody out. Cool Matt will finally fall. No Bunny Blaster kills for him as they do try to clean this up. Some good stall out. Reinforcements are coming back onto the point for Houston, but it might have reached that tipping point, and it has. Dallas will take the first point of Horizon Lunar College.
It gets chaotic, it gets tough to read sometimes, but I do like the fact that Houston Outlaws, it seemed like they really just wanted to have as little presence on the point as possible to avoid getting the picks until the fight actually came through. And maybe Custa holding on to that Valkyrie just a little bit longer is what made the difference there for Dallas when it got drawn out.
Both of these teams are known for being kind of slow-rolling, methodical, and patient. It's not the fast and furious scrap, everyone get in their style that some other teams in the Overwatch League have displayed. It definitely is some logic to their reasons here.
Nice. Great positioning from Mickey there to protect his back line. You can tell that's exactly what Jake was hunting for. He wanted to find those squishies, but it wasn't meant to be. And Seagull already getting caught out here by Cool Matt. Cool Matt decides to back up, and Jake with the kill. In fact, two of them. Chip Saiyan goes down as well, and that pretty much has to put a stop to things here for Dallas. They're going to have to fall back and reset.
There's a lot of established synergies in the Overwatch meta, in the Overwatch universe. I think this is becoming a new one when you lay down the supercharger from Orisa, colloquially referred to as bongos, and you've got a Junkrat that's going to hit mines, because a damage-boosted Junkrat, well, that might as well just be a delete key.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you hit the one mine. Even his frags at that point are just going to do so much damage. But that is going to slow things down here for Dallas, and they didn't exactly have the fastest first point take either, so they're going to have to keep that in mind. They have done a good job of maintaining their ultimates, however. Both support ultimates ready to go here for Dallas. Bonnie is going to have his Valk up again very quickly here, and Raucus isn't far off either, so this should be a fairly even fight going into it.
Well, they're definitely going to invest because they've already invested the Primal Rage. You don't do that unless you're going to follow up on it, but a nice bullying out by Cool Matt, who will not let these supports in to take the fight onto the point. They want to fight outside of it first.
Oh, that's a great time pot. Cool Matt with the self-destruct, just buying so much time, delaying things here for Dallas on the high ground at least, and we still have, oh, there it is. Jake hunts down the high-value target. Custa is no more. That heals, resurrect, everything is out the window here for Dallas.
That's so important because their own Mercy was down. Banny was out of that fight, so they need to equalize the healing potential on the other side of things. Now Linkser's just going to be able to run wild on the Tracer. How they ever take this man out of a lineup is a question I still want to get answered. He cleans up on the point. They will push them back. Ultimates have reset, and they both have Transcend to work with. At least they didn't double up on the support ultimates.
Yeah, both Valks got used very quickly. You were just kind of waiting. When are the Transcendences going to get used here by either one of the Zenyatas? And they decide to hold on to him, so we will have a bit longer of a fight here. Linkser about to get his pulse bomb, though, and Muma will have a perfect delay tactic in the Primal Rage.
Next micro battle is Effect versus Cool Matt. Effect wants to get to this high ground and pop that Tactical Visor. Tactical Visor is out. Matt is usually Johnny on the spot trying to harass that high ground up there. And really no kills from that Tactical Visor at all.
You have to keep an eye on him, though. Jake! Huge tire from him, picks up 3, and Linkser eventually finds his heart's desire. Takes down Custa. He was harassing the backline that entire time. You were waiting for Dallas to react to him, but just so much damage coming in from Jake. There's nothing you can do about that.
It's a noise you don't hear that often, and it is the team kill horn, and it started off because of this. He gets pressured down, decides it's time to let it rip, quite literally. Climbs a wall, finds his targets. That's
beautiful.
Devastating.
And he even manages to clip Custa a little bit, or at least Custa having to deal with the flanks coming in from Linkser. Linkser doing a great job working together. Jake is that hard point defense man, just pumping damage in. And again, another kill for Jake. He is so good at Junkrat right now. He is just shutting down Dallas left and right. Another one rolls in, and they are just, well, completely stopping Dallas cold. 2 minutes left on the clock here for Dallas.
I think most importantly, they're shutting down Effect no matter what hero he is on. He's had absolutely no impact in the last 2 maps. He got shut down on Widow, on Junkertown. His Tracer's been rocked a couple times. His 76 got absolutely nothing, and he is one of the most talented players in all of the league, not to mention this team, and they can really take their cues from him emotionally.
This is, I mean, that is what the analyst desk was mentioning as well going into this. You know, he is the rock that this roster is built around.
And again!
Unbelievable. Really keep the pressure up on Effect. If you can completely shut him out like this, life is going to get very difficult for Dallas. Jake with the high ground advantage as well. You can see exactly what he wants to be doing here. Just making sure that if you try and push through any of these choke points, if you are Dallas, you're going to take some damage. And he's got the Riptire again. This is unbelievable. It feels like he's got the Riptire every single team fight.
It does charge pretty quick. They've had no one to be able to get up there and deal with them. A lot of these, well, here comes another tower yet again. That's one way to deal with them up top. Send everything you have at him.
Interesting, because that's going to force things out. Cool, Matt, he will be able to find the pick on Coco, and there's the trance. Buying time, both Zenyatta's using their ultimates here, trying to keep their teammates alive as best they can. Raucus, good positioning from him, can just rain the orbs in, and he's just looking over this battlefield, calling out the targets, making sure that his team are focusing, and Jake, he's more than happy to oblige.
A lot of harmony on this point, but a lot of discord in the Dallas ranks as they get taken down one by one. The tanks who died very early in this fight come in late and get staggered yet again. We are nearing the 30-second mark for Houston to hold on point B.
And what do they have to work with? Seagull swapped over to Soldier in desperation. They need to find some kills somehow here. And Custa, no support ults here to make the difference either. Raucus is definitely further along to his trance, so he might even be able to farm that for them in the next fight here.
It's possible, and they're going to have to kill a lot here. Muma, at a certain point in time, is going to pop off and get himself 1,000 HP that will at least stall the Primal Rage. Instead, he's just going to play Bouncer again. The supports are denied access.
Yeah, fantastic work. Kusta caught by Linkser, and Linkser with a follow-up on Chips. The backline is dead for Dallas. They have no sustain. They need to get kills. Where are they going to happen, though? Seagull does manage to find Linkser in the end, so that's a big kill, and Effect is still alive on that point. Maybe they can turn it here, Dallas, but the supports are still alive, and sure enough, Raucus gets his trance in the end. This should spell disaster for Dallas. There's no way they can keep up on it, and the wick is burning, Hex.
Don't think they even got 33%, which would be one of those markers and call it a tick. That will not revert. It's very close. They did not. Houston has brought the defense.
There it is, sure enough. Jumping for joy. I mean, why not? Dallas right now are on the back foot, you can see. Seagull with a bit of a sigh there. You know that the frustration is going to be mounting. Nothing seems to be working for Dallas.
They do look a little bit exasperated right now. Now, of course, losing one person on the entry is always a bad sign, and that usually is not where you want to fight. But what was happening to Dallas is losing both of anything is always the worst. So you lose Effect, and then you lost Seagull. Well, that fight's over because you have no damage. Or you lose your Mercy, and then you lose a Zen. Well, that fight's over because you don't have any healing. If you lose one of the two, it often happened with the tanks as well. Coco would go in and get aggressive, he would die, then Mickey would die shortly after because they can't peel for each other. They were dying in pairs, which means those fights are unwinnable situations.
How do you remedy that? I mean, is that because you have the duos? I mean, okay, yeah, I'm kind of throwing you to the bus here, Hex. Sorry about that, but in terms of, you know, because they do kind of work as duos, as little teams in the bigger scope of things, in the bigger team. Is this just, do you think it's communication right now? They aren't quite clicking?
You know, I mean, one of the options is you can try to do a little more squad-based play, which you send maybe the Mercy in with one tank and one of the DPS on one side. Because what was happening, more than once, both of their healers got shut out for trying to go up top. The Zen and the Mercy were both up there, and whether it be Matt with a self-destruct or Muma going up top and bullying them out with a Primal Rage, the rest of the team had gone in, and then Houston shut the door and the support's coming in. So if you squad up and maybe go one of the angles, it seems opposite to what you want to do in Overwatch, group up, but when they're dying in pairs like that, maybe that's the option.
Well, Jake was certainly a thorn in their side, so I'm curious to see how he carries out here. On the offense, we have swapped again, and we're going to get into it. Can Houston extend their lead 2-0, or will Dallas be able to turn it around here and get a win? Well, Dallas pretty much need that hard hold on the first point. They cannot let Houston make any progress, and so we'll see. Do they change it up? And, well, Raucus on the Sombra already to start things off here for Houston. I like this strategy.
The man of a million heroes, he's going to hack that pack. The rest of his team is going to get in there and try to take damage. It will slow down their Valkyrie charge because they want to be charging up the EMP first and foremost. Raucus now going to kind of tickle people in the back. In fact, he's going to try to back up and pull them onto the point. They are expecting it. He knows Roadhog's there, and the one thing you have to dodge as a Sombra is stuns and hooks. Good job by Raucus.
Yeah, very quick reactions there to translocate back to the health pack. He'll be able to get, well, stay alive, and there we go. The moment's hesitation on my part, but Linkser certainly didn't hesitate on his side, and he could get the follow-up, but he has to reload. Never mind. Both supports dead. This is a disaster for Dallas. They are falling apart.
Linkser couldn't have better sightlines if he was mind controlling these supports. They seem to go wherever he wants them to. It is like the sniper rifle is guiding them. They are being baited out left and right. It's a similar thing to what happened in Junkertown. He takes down the Zenyatta. Then the Mercy has to come in because he's a high priority res. And you are walking right into sightlines, friends. And that is a quick first take. They didn't even have to use EMP. They have it for this next fight, and they'll have Valk. Custa, only 40% on his Valk. Huge kill, though. That's nice.
That's big. That's big. There's the delay. And you're right. Having that EMP can make the world of difference. They are very light on the ultimates right now on Dallas' side. And they aren't even waiting. They're just going to let him sprint back in. I mean, that is something that Raucus on Sombra has in his toolkit. He can move a bit quicker than others. Mickey will get the D-Mech on Cool Matt. Jake, though, with the trade, and there it is. Linkser, again, out in the open. Does get found by Siegel, though, but the damage is done. Jake and Banny reign supreme right now.
They will res that back up, and as they try to finish out this point, remember, they don't even have to finish. They do just finish like that because they only needed 33%. Houston Outlaws out to a blazing fast 2-0 lead over the Dallas Fuel.
So quick. The strats are working. Linkser is on point. He seems to hit every shot, and now it seems like Dallas just want to help him out as well. I mean, right now, they need to have a bit of a chat during this break that will be coming up. We will have the halftime coming up here, but yeah, definitely a reason to get pumped here for Houston. Everything seems to be working for him right now.
If any team needed a halftime, it is those boys in blue right there. Dallas needs to regroup. They need to figure out what is going on, what is not working, as they are in danger of going 0-3 to open their Overwatch League careers.
I'm very curious to hear what the desk have to say here as well going into the halftime, because there's a lot to cover that Dallas needs to fix if they have any chance of bringing this back to a 5th map.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen by HP. It's the Hoedown halftime. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are currently in the middle of match number 1, and it's the Houston Outlaws leading 2-0 after our first 2 maps. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, joined at the desk. We got our analyst back in action. It's Crumbs alongside Reinforce, and we're going to be breaking down all of the games, starting with Junkertown. And I want to start this off just with the highlights, because out of the gates, the Houston Outlaws snuffed out the Dallas approach, Crumbs.
Yeah, this was just a stomp, really, from the first 2 maps, but you can see here, Linkster, he actually hit a 33% scoped accuracy on Widowmaker. That's a critical hit scope, by the way. That is insane. Typically, people are averaging 15. That's over double.
I'm happy with 30% for just my scoped accuracy, not the critical accuracy. This was absolutely ridiculous. Jake on the Junkrat impressed across both maps, using those tires incredibly well. But it's really just a team cohesion issue that seems to be happening here, Ian.
Well, they're playing pretty straightforward, Dallas Fuel. They're playing Widowmaker and Hanzo. I'm going to go more in depth about that later on. But I'm just surprised by Houston Outlaws, to be honest. We saw Raucus on the Roadhog, of course, and he got all the flanks and found lots of picks all around. So I'm really surprised by this Houston Outlaw squad after yesterday's win.
Coming out here, and they were not afraid to take the fight to Dallas. Now, Reinforce here in our Insights by Intel is going to walk us through a illustration of exactly what was going wrong for Dallas on their attack.
Yes, so as I pointed out, Dallas Fuel playing the double sniper comp. We can actually see it here in the top left side of the screen. They're playing Seagull on the Hanzo and Effect on the Widowmaker. And of course, you want to spread out your snipers. You want maybe Seagull to be on one side of the map, and you want Effect to be on one side of the map. But instead, as you can see, they're playing in a straight line here. We have Effect on the left side of the screen and Seagull a bit further forward. So they're pretty much finding the same picks, and there's no real threat for Houston Outlaws here. We have Jake playing the Junkrat, so Houston trying to rely a bit more on spam. And with the Orisa shield, of course, they can just take their time because Dallas won't find these picks. So as we play this clip forward, we're actually going to see that by the protection of the Orisa shield, the Houston Outlaws... Oh, trying to get this clip going.
Johnny's got fat fingers today.
Oh boy.
It's all good. So
yes,
basically as it plays forward, the Muma's shield is going to break down all of the action. None of those sniper shots are able to go through. The Hanzo arrows are going to get stuffed as well, and we really just saw a collapse coming in.
Exactly. And why not create like a concave angle throughout this fight? Maybe put Seagull on one side of the fight and Effect on the other. But instead, as you can see here, Muma is getting resurrected here by Bani, and he places down the shield. Cool Matt on the Diva. He's going to use the defense matrix. And so Dallas Fuel here, they're just shooting the front line of Houston Outlaws. And throughout this fight, they're not going to find those picks they need. And Jake has all the time on the Junkrat to just spam down Coco's Orisa shield and win the fight over time.
Johnny, as a former pro, I have to ask you, how impressive is it to get a full hold on a map like Junkrat against another professional team?
Well, I think it was the 3rd time in Overwatch League we've seen someone held first point. So it's really surprising, honestly. And it's a bit boring. I want to see Taimu get in there, get some of those flanks going. We've seen him play a lot of Roadhog, so why not let Taimu play the Roadhog, or maybe the Widowmaker in this case, and maybe spread out and be the X factor in this game.
I have to ask about the setup here for Dallas Field. Now, in the past, we've seen Harry Hook on the Bastion on Junkertown. This time around, it's Chips, a guy that we've seen on Ana in the past. He was playing a little bit of Mercy earlier in the regular season. How surprised were you to see Custer bringing out the Mercy and Chips sitting on that Bastion?
I'm a bit surprised. Why not put Harry Hook on the Bastion instead? We've seen Harry Hook be a flawless soldier in the past, so he has the tracking ability. But of course, they opted for Chip Zion instead. Not really known for being a DPS player, so it's a bit questionable. But overall, I don't think it was a big problem we saw from Dallas Fuel on Junkertown.
So Houston comes out, they get all the momentum with a big victory on Junkertown, and they stayed fired up through our second map. Let's take a look at some of the highlights here from Horizon, because it all starts here. A lot of confidence coming in from Dallas Fuel. They get the high ground, and then Jake just shuts them down with his Junkrat once again.
Well, you have to remember that the Junkrat versus Tracer matchup is pretty damn difficult for the Tracer, because one single mine with a damage boost is enough to take you out. But the real issue here for me was Dallas overall. Sure, Houston looked impressive, but the tank diving coordination from the field was all over the place. I think we saw one instance where they actually dove together when the team was respawning. There was just no chance of anything actually going to happen out of that. So they're staggering themselves. They're not playing with the team, and that results in such a miscoordinated attack that it looks like they're having a rematch against the Dragons right now, and Fuel can't seem to get a footing, and I think they're just getting more frustrated with themselves.
Johnny, I have to ask you, who impressed you most most so far after watching 2 games from the Houston Outlaws? Who's the player going off to help them get these big victories?
Well, I gotta say Rock, because on the Road Dogg we saw him on the Junkertown, of course, and then later on Horizon as well. So I'm really impressed by Rockus so far. He's a good player across the board, jack of all trades. He can play the DPS, he can play the support, but in this series he's really showing that he's upping his level for Overwatch League.
The blonde rock star, Rockus, getting the job done through our first 2 games. Coming into this matchup, I got a chance to sit down with Kai, the coach of the Dallas Fuel, and I asked him, you guys are coming in 0-2. What did you work on leading up to the second week? And he said the #1 issue is our communication. When we were losing fights, our players started to shut down. There was no more calls, and without the target calls, the team falls apart. So coming into today's match, I asked our production team, can we grab 10 seconds? Can you get us behind the scenes with the Dallas Fuel? And here's how it sounded being in their booth.
Look at that. Armor's in there. I can't get in yet. Careful, careful. This tire? Wait for tire. Oh, there's an end. Point together. I'm dead. Point. Someone. Targets. Baby. Targets. Winston in the back. 10 dead. You're on the screen. You're in three, no heals. Try and get a tick. No, okay, it's out. Reset.
Johnny, how do you grade that comms today?
Oh, I don't rate that as high as I would have liked to. You have Seagull on the Genji, and you have the Winston trying to coordinate with him. You want to get the dives going, but there's no room to make those dive calls. You want a backline that's maybe a bit more structured and calm and collected, and let the front line do the work when you're playing these kind of dive compositions. We can see Coco doing a lot of calls in this fight, but overall, across the board, I think there's a bit too much going on.
I think there's a threshold in your games when you realize that a fight is lost, where you can just start to pull back and make the call, okay, it's over, let's get out of here, let's reset, make sure that we give as little as possible. And I'm not seeing that. You know, the fight just goes all the way out. You see the top Korean teams, they make sure that as soon as the fight looks like it's over, all right, just get out, everybody leave the party, we can try again. And instead of doing that, it's just breaking down the communication, as you were saying, that Kai has to get the team rallied up and make sure that they want to communicate and make sure that they say, okay, if something's going wrong, what is it and how can we find a solution?
Dallas had a lot of issues to fix. They got to get it done right now during halftime. Are there any fans out there that think we're going to see a Game 5? Can Dallas come back and win Games 3 and 4? We got some love up front. We'll see if they can get the job done. When we return, we got Oasis, Selmar, and Hex. We'll be bringing you all the action. Stay tuned. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
I couldn't think of a better way to start this rivalry. Houston Outlaws with a big opportunity here in the Texas Showdown.
Bobat stealing all the glory.
Linkser finds a kill onto Coco. I move for the kill. Pretty convincing win from Houston Outlaws. Dallas Fuel will barely come out on top.
Yeah, and the great words of Doa there, you know, what a way to start a rivalry, and this is laying it all out there. Houston, they have done a fantastic job of taking it to Dallas. They're currently in the lead 2-0.
I've got an idea to settle this, and I think Dallas would probably be on board. We go 6 McCree, flashbang only.
All right.
Yeah.
Somebody agreed with that. Somebody likes that idea in the crowd there. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. Just call it fireworks matches. Everyone's throwing the flashbangs at each other. Look, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought it was going to be closer than it was, but all credit to Houston and how they played. And Dallas needed that moment to regroup. They needed that halftime badly. We listened in to some of the comms, and they just have to be cleaned up.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. The first thing to start breaking down, if you do not have discipline, if you do not have confidence, certainly in your roster, and things start to go against you, well, you start talking, you turn into a bot, and you just stop talking, and you start just going on autopilot, and that's definitely not what you can afford to do here versus Houston. Houston will not allow you to get away with those kinds of mistakes, and so now we get into control. And so, Hex, what do you think that Dallas are going to have to do here to change things up and try and turn this around in their favor?
Well, Dallas has only played Ilios so far in the Overwatch League, and it did not go well for them. They lost both of their times out on Ilios, so now they've got a little bit of a different roster in here right now, so we'll see what they want to play on Oasis, which I believe plays very different than Ilios. This stage in particular, the University, I call it one of the outlier stages. The other two stages play very similar, but you see different strategies on University than you will on the other two stages of Oasis here. So probably not the Pharah just yet, but I'd be surprised if we don't see Pharah. Probably some Junkrat, some McCree. We've seen 3 tanks here. We've seen 4 tanks here. There's a lot of different strategies you can pull off on these different stages of Oasis. So I don't know. I mean, they're running Seagull, so they have the ability to run a Pharah if they would like to. That's something that Dallas was missing before they signed Seagull, a projectile DPS. It's really anyone's guess. The one thing I'm pretty sure that we're seeing on our screen is that they're not going to run a Symmetra. We have Muma.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I'm one of the few people who likes Symmetra, but he's the only hero that's not been played in the Overwatch League so far.
That's right, yeah, all heroes. That was one of the little tidbits that we picked up. I mean, Linkser switching over to Sombra, I doubt that that's going to happen either. I mean, it is about to begin. We're going to see him lock in, and it is going to be Muma on the Winston to start things off on his faithful tank that he's shown on yesterday, and so we'll see if he can give us a repeat performance. One guy to keep an eye on right now, he's been having a bit of a rough time, is Effect. We need to see him turn things around here for Dallas. He needs to start getting some confidence in his abilities to hit shots, and he's playing McCree as well.
Well, this is a clash of two styles because Houston is running pure dive and Dallas is running the anti-dive composition. They've got a Roadhog, they've got a McCree, they've got a Junkrat, so it's going to be very hard to get in here and actually get damage done without losing flankers just like that. Seagull giving Jake the Jake treatment.
What a sick read from Seagull. That was him predicting where Jake would be. Manages to get him with the mine right in the face, and there it is. Effect chimes in, takes down Muma to start things off, and it's looking like Dallas Fuel will be starting strong here on the 3rd map of this series. Hiding behind the Orisa shield as well. I mean, this is a style that I like to see, where it really does come down to how good your communication is, A, the thing that they had to work on, and B, can you stick together as a unit and play off of each other? And so far, it's looking fairly good here for Dallas.
It's just very much designed to catch these flankers out to make sure that the dive can't get much done. I would give them one more life on this Houston Outlaws before they seriously consider change. Jake is going to have Blade up soon enough, which is why you stick with this. We'll see if they can have a little bit different a result than last time. That's nice to pick off custom from Lynx right off the start.
Rock is styling, but there's Seagull again, catches Jake. Boink is there with the resurrect immediately, but Seagull looking to follow up and again takes down Jake. Seagull's having a field day right now. He's got something against Genji.
I feel like Jake plays Overwatch like an old school NES game. He always gets 3 lives. I've seen him get rezzed once, twice. I've seen him get both Valkyrie rezzes at the same time. They know where their bread is buttered. Interesting enough, a sub did come in that was Boink for Banny. I thought that might be because they want to run a Lucio. They likely do, just not on this stage going forward, as Boink is on the Mercy still.
Want to have that Mercy, want to have that res in play. The Valkyrie so powerful, and here it is. Jake was looking for the opening. He's got the Dragon Blade, and it's time to hack and slash. Effect not able to get the flashbang off in time, and look what happens. He just murders the back line. Jake, that is fine work indeed.
I'm a little bit confused at the Valkyrie timing there from Custa that came out. He just lost 3 at best. You're using Valk to turn that into a 5v6.
And again, Raucus gets the pick on Effect. that's another stagger. That's not what you can afford to have here if you're Dallas.
Valkyrie's the most powerful ultimate in the game. It erases mistakes, but not a mistake that big. You just lost people near your back line. I don't know why you want to resurrect them in that situation, and now they're so far behind in that ultimate.
Yeah, Lynx are flying the pressure. Super solid so far. Gets that trance out already. They aren't even on the point, and Dallas are using ultimates just to stay alive, just to deal with the Tracer.
Well, they kind of have to. They have to get near the points, and they're playing so far forward on the defense that you have to use ultimates. Whole Hog was also pushed into there too. Cool Matt flying down will take a little dip down to grab it, but that's a nice tire. Takes out Boink, who had Valkyrie up and in progress.
Seagull has been a real positive here for Dallas. He just seems to have an impact every single time, shutting down Jake, and now finding the key frag on the Mercy, taking the Resurrect out of the play, but somehow Houston are still finding kills despite all of that. Jake once again with the Dragon Blade, and Raucus just seems to be getting kills left and right on the Zenyatta.
The issue with Dallas's composition is it's not really meant to reestablish once it's been broken. It's more of a static composition. They have switched some heroes off because they have to get back to the point, but ever since that first point got cracked, they've been unable to reestablish on the point, and that is a quick death from Coco. He will drop his bongos, and no music is playing anymore.
Just tasing him. Costa will be able to come through with the Resurrect again to get him back into the fight. Moma messes
No
up
one
his
saw
jump.
that.
Nobody saw that. Yep, we'll ignore it. Because Jake right now, reflecting bullets back in their face, getting the slash as well. He's just staying so mobile, but Seagull, again, he has been Jake's thorn. And Seagull just looking to connect, and eventually he will. Jake, yet again, dies to the hand of the grenades.
The question is it enough? As Raucus is alone up top, just throwing shapes out. He does hit some headshots. That's going to make them think twice about coming in. Custa very low. Will get pressure down. There's the communication that's on display from Houston as the support and to the Diva combo finish out that fight. Houston, one stage away from taking the set.
And so this is where you have to wonder, again, are they locking up Dallas right now? Are they not managing to change, to think on their feet? When, like you outlined, right, when a strat isn't working, is that the time to start changing it up? Maybe you need to go dive yourself to at least get onto the point and take the fight there? Or are they too greedy with their ultimates, holding on to them too long? Tough to see right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the opposite, and Custa's one of my favorite people, but that was a very strange Valkyrie. You just lost 3 to a Dragon Blade. Best case scenario, you get 1 kill and you bring 2 people back to life. You're going to be lower on the Valkyrie charge, and now you're even. It just seemed like that was the time to swallow your pride, and it goes back to what the desk said. Knowing when a fight is over, and it doesn't seem like Dallas has a great grasp on that right now.
Well, Houston have got him by the horns, that's for sure. And it's looking very good for them. Momo with the high ground, just looking to drop on him. As soon as Dallas try and show any kind of presence on the point, just figuring it out here. He sure enough knows where they're coming from at this point. And Mickey will be playing the Roadhog again. We saw him struggle with it a little bit on Junkertown to start, and so he's really gonna have to start hitting some hooks here. He's gotta come up with the fire plays, Hex.
Yeah, Mickey essentially is mostly just a Diva player, so when he does hit that early hook there, they're unable to finish it. Yes, they do find the finish there. Matt and Raucus now out of it. This is a fight that by the numbers, Dallas should win.
They should be able to carry it forward. Mickey missing hooks, though. He is going to be able to take a breather, however, get back up to full HP, but Momo's doing a fantastic job of just staying alive. Eventually, Mickey will melee him to death. And this should be the turning point here for Dallas. And now it's a matter of not repeating history. They got the first point. It played out exactly the same, where they got the strong start and they started to gain that percentage. Now it's a matter of holding on here and stopping Houston from getting the retake.
Yeah, Seagull with another pretty big fight there, chunking in so much damage. Mickey, you reverse caster cursed him. Said he's got to hit some hooks, and he hit some hooks.
I see how this works.
You have the power. Don't abuse it.
It's gonna go to my head eventually. You know it. Funny thing is that I'm born in Dallas, so it's like I can't even really weigh in on this. There's an internal bias going on.
That starts off Mickey out of the fight. That is a huge blade that comes through, gets the tire and the tire caster. Again, a late Valkyrie brings 2 back to life, and they're not even after that Valk.
Oh, and well, really just not staying too focused there, Jake. You realize that he could not get that kill nice and clean. And so they still have the Valk of their own here for Houston. They can potentially stop Dallas from having any say in this because they're already gathering percent Houston. And for a second there, I thought that it was going to be the reset. They have nowhere to go. You can't back into traffic. And there it is. Jake gets a bit too greedy. Leaves a good dent in the bumper.
How do you even claim that on your insurance? I hit a cyber ninja? No one's going to believe you. Hope that guy had a dash cam.
This isn't Russia, Hex. This is Russia. But they continue to pull forward here, Houston. They're about to tie things up. And, well, Dallas, they have 3 ultimates to work with, and Siegel has nearly got his Riptire. He was very effective with it earlier. So we need to see a big play from him.
He's been very effective at taking out the Valkyrie Mercy on the other side, whether it be Banny or Boink. And that is one of the few abilities that's able to get vertical enough to deal with the Mercy, the burst damage of a Valkyrie Mercy. So that's the matchup I want to see. If they can force out a Valkyrie from Boink, can Siegel counter it with his Riptire?
Oh, that's where you hold your breath. You think that it might connect, but Mickey just not able to get the hook into Jake. Still, they're keeping this presence on the point, constantly contesting, and there's the flank coming through, putting the pressure on. Muma finds effect already, and he survives as well. This is going to force the whole hog here out of Mickey, looking for kills, and he connects immediately with Rockers, gets the follow-up on Coolman, and Mickey, he is the man making the difference.
Mickey's had some great play here so far. They're gonna bust out the blade while Valkyrie is in progress. Custa out of this fight. And there goes Muma and Jake combining for 3. The Valkyrie from Boink that's been in his pocket for quite a while comes to fruition, and they will clean up this fight.
Oh, Effect finally having an impact, though. That was a great pulse bomb. Finally getting rid of Muma, who's been doing a fantastic job of staying alive so far and being just a thorn constantly in Dallas' side. But Effect needs to stay alive, getting caught out, and he sure enough will die in the end. Somehow they withstand it, Houston. They stay alive, and they are so close to finishing this map, Hex.
It's one of those situations where they thought they could bring him back, but meanwhile, they weren't in control of it the entire time. Siegel gets on just to touch. He had the suicide onto the point. They will not be able to touch it. And Houston, we have a victory over Dallas.
3-0. That's as clean as it gets. Dallas, they seem impotent right now. They are not able to get anything going for themselves. And there it is, sure enough. Of course, if you're in Dallas' shoes right now, you are desperate to pick up this 4th map, because going into it, towards the end of the league, it's going to come, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, every map counts. And so Dallas have every reason to keep battling here. But right now, Houston, they're feeling great.
Forget about map scores, forget about tiebreakers. You don't want to go 0-4 against your in-state rival. This is about getting a crooked number on that board.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
Overwatch League represents a different direction than esports have taken in the past. A global community of professionals for a truly global league.
All right, welcome back from the break, everybody. I mean, the Houston Outlaws, they're on the point of extinguishing the Dallas Fuel. It's not looking good in this interstate rivalry. What do you make of it, Hex?
You gotta get your momentum back somewhere. So Dallas has to play for pride here and maybe just start cleaning up some of the calls. I mean, we're gonna have a substitution. I believe there's the man himself. Taimu is gonna be coming in for Siegel as we move on to our 4th map. And Taimu, you know, he's been a big part of this team for a long time. I think he's got the right attitude to turn it around for this team. If they're being a little bit, I don't know, disagreeing, Taimu can bring people together. Yeah, Taimu's not quiet.
Him and Mickey sitting side by side. I feel like there's it's like one-sided, a little lopsided a bit for Dallas. We're gonna have Banny back as well. He'll be replacing Boink. And so for the last map here, which will be Eichenwald, we will be getting into it with, I mean, a fairly classic sort of lineup now for Dallas, at least. They're going back to what has worked in the past, at least with Taimu, and he does bring that positivity to the team.
Yeah, they need a big dose of PMA, and I think that's a good start for him. But I think if you're a Houston fan, which I know there's some of you out there, you have to be happy that they're not really messing with their starting 6 right now. I mean, mostly they brought in one in case they had to run a Lucio, but that was it. They're letting their guys play. Maybe some issues with people trying to warm up. Maybe there was a little too much tinkering going on, but this 6 seems to be their most solid so far. And what a performance they put on against Dallas.
You got to give it to Jake. I mean, it seems like he's just nonstop getting value out of his ultimates, the Dragon Blade, the Riptire. He just constantly gets kills, which is always just, I mean, it's like tightening the thumb screws on Dallas. Dallas just can't seem to find a way to deal with this guy, even though, I mean, we kind of saw Siegel, you know, taking the fight to him a bit. It just wasn't enough because guess what? You still have Linkser, and Linkser is shredding you too.
You can only call a man Jake Rat so many times until he busts out a blade and proves everybody wrong. That was an amazing Genji performance he brought out against a composition that Genji should not really work all that well against. He had to eat a couple of Siegel mines to start it out, but just the perseverance there, hard work paying off as we enter into Eichenwalda.
We need to actually just agree on a way to say that.
No, that's the thing, is that even Germans don't agree on it. Like, there's an old German and there's a new German way of saying it. So there are technically, actually, at very least 2 ways to say it. Eichenwalda and Eichenwald.
I love it, though. This is the devs basically toying with everybody, saying, we'll pick the name of a map that nobody can agree on. And everybody wins at that point.
Yeah, that E-map is what I call it. I've never called it that before, nor will I.
E-map?
E-map.
That doesn't work. No, I'm vetoing it.
Thank you.
All right, 10 seconds until we get into the action here, and so I think we can start getting a little bit of an idea of the rosters, at least what they're going to run. And well, Jake, again, a man of many weapons. This time he's going to turn to rockets. It's going to be Pharah for him. So we're going to get to see him in all forms.
The defensive Pharah is interesting. Taimu already just eats a rocket right out of the gates. It's going to be difficult for Taimu to find the angle on it, but it is up to him to be able to deal with that Pharah Mercy. In fact, he's got to coordinate with Chips here because it's not just him. He's got, oh my goodness! You see Taimu in the kill feed, but that little icon next to him is Chips. They discorded Jake in the sky, and they absolutely need that. Taimu bringing the thunder already.
There we go. Turns out you just needed some fins in here. I mean, you had Linkser over on Houston. Dallas are like, right, what do we need to do? We need to turn it around here. Bring in our own fin. And sure enough, Taimu just wrecking house. He's already got 60% on the ult as well. Deadeye is going to be perfect to zone out Houston. And so a very quick first point take here for Dallas. Houston now, they have to set up the defense, and you can say, Taimu, you can't pull any fast ones on him.
So sneaky. Finland represent, and what's so important to them actually is that Taimu is going to be at 80%. Now Deadeye is not the biggest ultimate in the game, but if you can find the sneaky angle, it's one of the best counters to an ultimating Mercy. So he might just hold it in his pocket until Banny tries to get that Valkyrie mode up and then pick him out of the sky. But it seems like Houston has designs on a very aggressive defense, punished already.
There we go. Good call out here. The communication seems to be crisp. They're calling out their targets. Taimu is hitting shots left and right, and in fact wins the duel versus Linkser. We haven't been able to say that too often so far this series. And things definitely looking up here for Dallas. They are burning bright.
Oh, Linkser's going to go to a McCree of his own. And this is what I wanted to see in the Texas matchup. A McCree versus a McCree. I was going to be disappointed if we didn't have it. But more importantly, it's Taimu versus Linkser, two of the best players on their respective teams.
Oh, looking for the squishy targets. And Effect, I thought he dodged it. I thought he got out in the nick of time, but Jake still connects. And Jake with the follow-up manages to get the D-Mech on Mickey. The pressure getting poured on here in Houston. They're doing a fantastic job. And it all took Jake just going back to his faithful rat.
He will lay down the Overwatch spray so people know he's been there. And this is an opportunity for them to completely set up on the defense. Oftentimes on second points of both hybrid and payload maps, you want that momentum driving through. You would love to get second in one foul swoop, because now that the defenders have the height advantage, it can be very difficult to crack them.
Just thinking, where is Taimu going to be able to use the Deadeye at this point? If you've got the high ground, all you have to do is fall back, just give an angle. It really will turn into like a zoning ult. So Jake getting damage boosted as well, just doing so much damage in these choke points, and Dallas just trying to find a way.
They might rotate all the way around. They might go through house and come out onto the low ground on the other side, meanwhile trying to get a little free push on the cart via their Devo. But yeah, that seems to be the angle they want to take. Instead, they're going to dive onto Jake. Still no kills in this fight just yet. Linkser challenged Mickey, then taken out.
Oh, very quick with the Transcendence there, Chipsayan, to make sure that Jake couldn't pick anybody off. Keeps his team alive, and both teams actually using their trances, but Jake right back into it, and sure enough, hunts down Chipsayan, but Mickey will trade the frag right back.
There's no more terrifying sound as a Zenyatta than a Riptire. You just try to hit a charge volley of orbs to try to take it out, but it is a very big ask in that situation. The Valkyrie out for Dallas brought them up to life. It is 4v5 right now. Next kill might decide this fight.
Solid work between Muma and Colmat right now to start picking up the back line. I like it. You lose Muma, fair enough. He'll get back quick enough on the Winston, but Colmat really keeping the pressure on, and Linkser finds a headshot on Effect. They are putting up one hell of a fight right now, Houston.
It seems they've identified one of the biggest threats on this Dallas Fuel team, and it has been a fact. Everyone talked to us in the preseason about how this guy is a robot playing on a different level, so they've decided to take him out of the game. They've run his hard counters. Effect has been very quiet through this entire matchup.
Yeah, raucous. Just getting clever there with the volley. Fair enough. I mean, you connect with a squishy target there, you are able to just get that one pick, that one shot.
And that'll win a fight for you. If you could just take out the Tracer right away, who's just peeking a corner somehow, they have to completely reset.
There's only 2 minutes, 30 seconds left on this clock as well for Dallas. And again, trying to go for the wrap here. Maybe trying to get a bit of a sandwich. Linkser getting healed through it. The Deadeye buying even more time. Eventually has to give up on it, but that's fine because Dallas, they're still struggling to make progress.
You see that Taimu has kept his Deadeye in his pocket. He was waiting for that Valkyrie that Banny has up. I can't see where Banny is right now, but probably hiding from that Deadeye. Taimu does not find anything with it.
6 shots from Linkser though. All right, I cut you off. Sorry about that.
No, that's actually appropriate. That's exactly what you should be talking about. The Valk did come out from Bonnie in that fight to bring them all up to life. Maybe not the most necessary, but Taimu was trying to get it done at the Deadeye, just couldn't find his angle.
That's one of the things you have to keep in mind when McCree is on the field. It's one of the few ultimates that can actually effectively deal with Valkyrie, dealing that hard punch that you need. His Mercy, of course, just constantly regens HP so quickly when she has her ult burning for 20 seconds, no less. Tyre on the hunt. Jake will get the D-Mech. He actually gets something out of it. How?
Patience. Absolutely just patience, just chilling up top. And not only, even if that Tyre gets nothing, it gets them 10 seconds where they can't roll out and they can't do anything. And when the clock is reading 110 on it, that 10 seconds means a lot.
There's one res used by Banning, so that's one thing going for Dallas. Both support ults up and running for Dallas as well. And this really has to be the difference maker. Houston Outlaws, Banning, no Valkyrie. Costa, you have Valkyrie. This needs to be the time where you actually turn it around here. Taimu just hunting for a target right now in midair.
Effect is already out of this fight, forcing a very early Valkyrie charge. They have to use it. This is the last good opportunity for Dallas to make any more progress on the point. Taimu's unable to find any angles or any targets at all.
How insanely frustrating. Great positioning coming in from Houston, and you can see the frustration here building, mounting for Taimu. He's desperate to find a target, and as soon as he makes a play to try and open up a line of sight, guess who's there to zap him out of the way?
In the last 20 seconds, Valk went off, Trance went off, and the first person to die in all of that is Custa at the end of his Valkyrie.
Taimu once again having to give ground. Muma's not going to let him go, though. Jake, got to be a little bit careful jumping around like that out in the open when there's a scoped rifle at work. Mickey trying to push the point forward just a little bit here, trying to create some space for his team, and he's actually gaining some decent ground right at the end as well. Only 5 seconds left before we kick it into overtime, but Jake once again reclaims the payload, and Mickey just doing the best that he can to try and buy time here for his teammates to get back into this.
There's going to be a Tyre that could just end this map right now. He's looking for the supports in the backline. It does get taken out by Effect, but it's a zoning Tyre. They're unable to make any more progress. They are stopped before even second point. The Houston Outlaws defense has been impenetrable.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Aware of the sight lines. When Time is trying to make that Widow work, there's nothing more frustrating when you're just like, nobody is showing themselves. You got no targets. You can just see Time just glancing every which way, trying to find somebody to put a bullet through.
They didn't get a far enough push that wrapping around the right side through the castle, which they tried on their first couple pushes, is effective enough because you still have to deal with the people up top. And what that requires is that your coordination on your dive has to be there to at least knock people off. They were running the right composition. They had a Winston. They had a Diva. Maybe you need the DPS to go up there with you, so that's not a Tracer. That's not a McCree. You need a Genji, something that can use the mobility to get up top there to just help dislodge them. It seemed that Houston was hanging out up top and never really pressured off of their spot.
Yeah, Jake, I think that's a lot to do with Jake as well. When you have that Junkrat up there and you have to go through the tight doorway, you're getting mines rained in on you, you're getting grenades chucked in your face. I mean, that's not a fun place to be if you're Dallas.
And here's the thing, you think like, oh, we'll just run a Pharah, get up there and boop them off. But when you've got Linkser on the ground rocking a hand cannon, your Pharah doesn't stand a chance.
As he's like, peace. Guess what? It's called Peacekeeper. But peace reigns in my sphere of control. We're going to get into it now. It is going to be the swap yet again. Dallas will be the ones defending. Houston will be on the attacking side. And already going to keep an eye on what they're running. Pretty sure Muma, again, is not going to run Symmetra. Just, keep that in mind. But Jake on the Pharah again.
So why can't you let me have the 15 seconds of hope that there's going to be a Symmetra? What, offensive Symmetra? I've played ranked. This is totally viable.
It works all the time. It works all the time. You definitely do not put a hole in your desk when that happens. All right, when your teammate locks that in. All right, good times.
It's going to be up to Effect to deal with Jake in the sky. Jake's coming in on this because he expects a Junkrat on the ground. That is a nice opening volley from Chips. Linkser out of the fight on the defense. That opens the gate.
Yeah, there you go. He highlights it perfectly. Exactly what you mentioned. You can get that pick on the Tracer who's kind of peeking around the corner. And that's going to stall things out. Well, luckily, for Linkser, he doesn't have too far to run, so he'll be back in the fight soon enough. Jake just trying to get some rockets, trying to build up that ultimate as quickly as possible here, and they are getting a bit too low here. Chip saying at risk.
Damage boosted rockets do a lot. He's not been able to clean up any fight. He's distributing that damage a little too much, and Jake will go down. Effect finds the target that he needs, and the rest of the Outlaws will fall in turn.
Both DPS here for Dallas are getting very close to their ultimates. So that'll do perfect here to buy even more time. I like that Muma is allowing Banny to get some ult charge as well off of him, not going to a health pack, not running back in for the free heal. Definitely give your healers the chance to build their ultimates as well, because that's only going to help you going into the push. We're going to give a bit of a replay here of time of cleaning house. It's not every day you see somebody cleaning house with shrapnel. I would think it'd be the opposite. It'd be kind of dirty, but it works.
There's two places you don't want to fight, in a basement in World War II and in a hallway in Eichenwald.
Linkser, he will be able to stay alive on this, keeping the pressure on. Effect, though, doing massive damage. 2 quick kills for him, and the important one is on Banny, taking him out of the fight. And again, this is looking very good here for Dallas. They have really turned it around.
They have. However, there is one very important ultimate that was just used for Dallas and Valkyrie. Custa used his. Bonnie will have his in the next fight. That means they will have the Valkyrie advantage. Usually means the man advantage given the resurrection mechanics. This is why Deadeye can be so good, taking out those targets in the sky.
Sick follow-up there. That was crisp, that was clean. That's exactly what you need to see from Effect. That's what Dallas need him to do. He is their point man when it comes to dealing with Jake, and Jake has Barrage ready as well. But there's the Valk getting used, and so we'll see. I mean, Houston, they need to take advantage of this ultimate.
Oh, they know they're a great spot for the Valk because you can resurrect Jake, which is why he has the freedom to use that barrage, knowing he'll be brought back to life. However, Mickey took out Bonnie during that fight. Bonnie and Jake out of the fight. Do the Outlaws have the bodies on the point to bring this back? They just might.
Keeping it alive, keeping it running. And so Houston, they will get the first cap, and they will begin to push that payload. And we all saw just how far Dallas got, not very. And so things, with how Houston have been performing so far, things could be shaping up. And this is all about that combo, right? When you have the Valkyrie in play, Jake, he's got the barrage, perfect positioning from him right behind the Orisa shield. He's boosted up, doing maximum damage. Sick combo coming through there for Houston. They really needed to make it count.
Barrage can be a death sentence.
Oh.
Speaking of, that is a huge pulse bomb from Linkser. Takes down 2. This doorway hold from the Dallas Fuel is not long, and they will be evicted off this point as Houston continues to push. What I was saying is that Barrage is a death sentence. You're a static target. No one's going to let you get away with that. So you can really only pull off a Barrage when you've taken out anyone who can shoot at you, like another Pharah or a McCree, or you know you're going to get resurrected. Otherwise, you're better off just holding on to it.
Something to keep in mind for all the Pharah mains out there. I'm pretty sure that they've had some frustrating barrages of their own in the past where they get picked immediately without being able to get anything done. Still, Muma, he will be forced back. He's getting dangerously low right now. Drops behind Coolman, who's been demaxed as well, and so Dallas again buying valuable time. We're past the 3-minute mark here for Houston, and if they can get the kill on Muma, this would be big again. Just the kill feed filled with white, the aggression here from Dallas. Enough is enough, Hex.
Well, Houston has the composition to be able to deal with dislodging the high ground. Lynx are on his own grand tour all the way in the background here. But they've got not only the dive tanks in your D.Va and your Winston to take the high ground, they've got Lynxer, or Jake rather, who's going to come up with them and force a response out of them. Now, they would have liked to have gotten a Dragon Blade up there too, but they've dislodged them. Now they're going to take free push. You can do this as many times as you want. A Blade comes out for Jake.
This is it. He needs to find the kills, and he's not going to do it. For once, Jake not able to get any value out of his ultimate apart from positioning, forcing Dallas back. But they did a great job of sticking together. Dallas, in effect, drops out of nowhere. Doesn't get the kill, but that was so close. Jake just had a heart attack.
Jake, the escape artist right there, and I would beg to differ that he didn't get anything out of that Dragon Blade. Sometimes you can consider it a success if you force out a Transcend, which you did in that fight. So the support ultimates now both being used for Dallas Fuel. But on the other side of things, Houston had to use all of theirs as well. Everyone kind of throwing ults willy-nilly here. Speaking of throwing ults, Matt drops a bomb over top and takes down two.
And that's it. Costa is out of the fight as well, and they're running out of space here. Dallas, they need to keep some kind of presence here. They need to contest on the point. It is going to move forward so quickly. You want to keep the 3 on there. Keep the 3 on there, Houston. Get it in there as fast as possible. Peaks a little bit more speed, and they are not going to have any time here, Dallas. You can see they're just jumping in. Coco trying to buy time, but he's going to be a great focus target. Rockus already going to town with the heavy pulse rifle, picking up the kill on Taimu, who's not long for this world.
What a luxury to be able to instantly flex onto a third DPS. The caliber of Rockus. He has played more DPS heroes than he has support heroes in the Overwatch League. Houston Outlaws 4-0. The Dallas Fuel.
The sweep. Dallas definitely did not expect this result coming into this series. You were thinking it was going to be a bit more competitive between the two. Dallas, a real threat coming into the league. And no, turns out that Houston, it's the hair. It's got to be the hair. Rockus with those locks, it's got to be the hair game.
It's like Samson. Their power's in their hair.
Perfect. So, I mean, we'll see. They are going to eventually get over there to shake Dallas's hands. Good sportsmanship. All of them. And Jake, I'm glad to see that Jake, at least, he's talked a lot about hard work, about dedication. Well, it's paid off today for sure.
I think the versatility is really shines through, that the Outlaws are able to run this pretty much 6-man composition with subbing in a Lucio here or there. But the thing that Rockus gives you is that he can play the DPS and not miss a beat. So he's a support main, generally plays a Zenyatta, but he flexed on to so many DPS there towards the end onto the 76, just to give him that extra oomph, that extra bit of firepower they needed.
We'll get the replay of Jake. I mean, he really showed on the Junkrat today.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen.